Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about change of subject or changing the subject. First, we're going to talk about questions that have subject that occurs once, okay? Let's take an example of these questions. Let's take something that has many steps just to show you how it works, okay? This one is a very good question. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. It has a lot of steps, so I just want to make sure that you understand the steps. The other ones you already understand them, but I want to make sure that you get a hard question for practice, okay? Yes. Okay, here we need to make A the subject. So let's put it here. Make A the subject. Let's see. So as you can see here, A is stuck over here. It means I need to move everything next to the A until we end up with one A alone. So let's cover here down so we can use the whole space to do our work, okay? We will take a question in each topic of changing the subject just to cover the ideas of changing the subject. So we want to make A the subject. First thing we do, we look at the question. We find out that the whole thing is divided by 2. So the whole thing, it means I can take the 2 to the other side. As I said, this one is multiplied here. This means the 2 is under the whole part over here. So I can take the 2 to the other side by multiplying, and I'll end up with something like this. So we have 2s, like this. Let's make it capital S. So we have 2s equals, and then this n here, it's multiplied by the whole thing. I don't want to jump into steps. Okay, let's do step by step, baby steps. So the n is multiplied by the whole bracket like this. Inside the bracket, we have 2a plus bracket n minus 1, like this. And then times d, which is like this. And then close bracket. So basically, this bracket looks like this. Huh? Let's use the same brackets in the question so you understand the ideas. Like this and like this. Okay. Now, we use the same brackets so you understand the idea. Now, the n here is multiplied by the whole bracket. It means I can take it to the other side by dividing. At the same time, I want to show you something inside the this part. I can expand this or leave it as it is. Okay, you can expand it or leave it as it is. So basically, let's not expand. Let's not add more work to the work that we're doing. So basically, the n is multiplied by the whole thing. It means I can take it to this side by dividing. So I have here 2s divided by n, and then divided by n here. And then we have an equal sign. We remove the n. It means we can remove the brackets outside. Now I end up here with 2a plus bracket n minus 1 inside the bracket, and then multiplied by d like this. Okay. And this one is divided by n. Okay. So focus on these steps because they are very important. Now, what should I do? I need the a alone. It means I can take the whole element like this. This is a whole element. I can move it to the other side and change the sign. Here it is added, or it has a positive sign. It means when I take it to the other side, it's going to be negative. So let me show you how to write it. First, I'm going to write 2s over n, and then the part that has the negative, so minus bracket n minus 1, n minus 1, close bracket d. So basically, what did I do? I took the whole thing here and I changed the only the first sign, which is positive, becomes negative, like this. Now, this means I removed it from here and I left 2a alone. So equals 2a, equals 2a, like this. Now, let me put the fraction sign over here, like this. Here, the whole idea here is I moved this here and I changed the sign. I can expand this or I don't have to. Same answer. I can take any answers as long as they follow the right steps. Now, the last step that you need to know or you need to do is get rid of the 2. The 2 is multiplied by a. It means I can take it to the other side by dividing. So the 2, the whole 2. be taken to the other side by dividing. It means I'm going to put a whole fraction like this and then over 2. Now, I can accept this answer, or you can use simplifying to simplify the answer. I'll show you how to simplify it first. Let me finish this answer first. So take the 2 to the other side and leave a alone here, and you'll end up with a as the subject of the formula. So the whole thing will be over 2, like this. Okay, like this, yes. Now I will accept this answer, and now I will show you the other answer that I will accept that involves a little bit of simplifying, okay? So let me show you here. Now, what happened here, I want to expand this. As I said, this is the final answer. You don't have to work after this, but I will show you some answers that will be more simplified. More simplified, okay? Now, first, I'm going to finish from here, okay? So basically, what should I do? I should take this D here, okay, and expand it inside. Take the D and expand it inside like this. So it's going to be like this, 2S equals N bracket like this. Focus on these steps, okay? Bracket 2A plus, now D times N equals Dn. And then T times negative 1 is going to be negative D. And then you close the big bracket like this. And then what should I do here? I should expand the N inside like this, N, by multiplying, okay? So I'll end up with something like this, 2S equals 2A or 2NA plus dn dn squared, because n times n is n squared, okay? 2n squared. And then n times d is going to be dn. So minus dn, like this. Now I need the a alone. Same idea, same steps. I'm going to take everything here and to the other side and change the sign. So I'm going to take this to the other side and this to the other side. And I will change the signs of these elements. So basically this will come here. Same idea with this one, it will come here, and they will be having different signs. So I'll write them here, 2s, and then minus dn squared, like this, of 2, and then plus dn, because it was minus, it becomes plus, and then we have equal to na, okay? Now, as I said, I can accept this answer. I have no problem with the first answer that you gave me here. Or I'll accept this answer, which is more simplified. Now, here I need the a alone. It means I want to remove the 2n. I'm going to take the 2n to the other side. Because it's multiplied, I'm going to take it to the other side by dividing. So it's going to be over here by dividing. So I'll take it over here and remove it from the other side. And the whole fraction will be divided by 2n. And as I said, for this question, same idea, I can accept that, okay? Now, this one, oh, this answer is good too. Now, basically, how did this become this? It's easy. This is an n. This is divided by it. This one is in the fraction. It means the n goes down by multiplying like this, because that's a fraction and that's a fraction. So basically, this one is multiplied by the 2. It's going to be 2n down. Okay. Now, as I said, both answers are good. Both answers can be accepted in the test as long as you have the same signs, the same powers, and the same elements. And that's it for this question. I hope you understood the idea of changing the subject. I know this is a long question, but you need to focus on every single step, because steps do make some points for you guys. Because if you have a problem with any of the steps, this means you can count on the steps before to get you some points, okay? Now we're going to move on to the same thing, but talking about a power of subject occurs, or subject occurs twice. So this means having a power over the subject, or the subject happens 2 times. For example, here we have 2x's. This is very important. Let's take a look at one of the questions that has a power over the subject. and then we will talk about answering the question. We will talk about question 11. It's very good to explain here. Let's see. So in question 11 here, they need us to make R the subject. So basically change the subject into R and move everything to the other side. So first thing we do, we look at the formula here. We have 4 over 3. This 4 over 3, we can turn it into a decimal. Can turn it into a decimal by dividing the 4 by 3, no problem with that. Or you can use it as a fraction by itself, it's okay. Now 4 over 3 is the same as 1 and 1 over 3. Now, if I want to use it as a fraction because decimals will lose numbers, I just elongate the line here, make this longer. Because they are multiplied, it means all of them will be on top of the line. So this one is on the bottom. This is on top of the line. So when I rewrite the formula again, it's going to look like this. V equals 4, 4 multiplied by pi r power of 3, and all of them divided by 3, like this. So rewriting the formula like this will help me solve it in an easy way. So this is the pi here, okay? And the fraction line, as I said, fraction line. I'm just rewriting the formula to show you that both of them are the same. This power of 3 over here, yes. Now let's continue. So as I said, the 4 is on top, the 3 is on the bottom, the denominator, and all of them are in the numerator. Now the formula is obvious and I can work on it with no problems. First thing I do, I have to move the 3 to the other side. Because it's divided, I'm going to move it to the other side by multiplying. This will give me 3v, like this, 3v. Let's make it blue. So 3v equals, I removed the 3, so I end up with 4 pi r power of 3. R power of 3. Now let's write the pi over here. I can use the pi as a number or leave it as it is. It's up to you. You can use it as 3.14 and multiply it by the 4, or leave it as it is, as a symbol like this. Okay. So 3v equals 4 pi r power of 3. Now the next step here, all of these are multiplied. All of these are multiplied by the r, the 4 and the pi over here. And because they're multiplied, I can take them to the other side by dividing. I can take them to the other side by dividing. So I'll end up with something like this, 3v over 4 pi, like this. Focus on this. This is very important. Because they were multiplied, I took them to the other side by dividing. So they end up like this, 4 pi on the denominator and 3v in the numerator. Now let me write the fraction. So I just took the 4 pi to the other side by dividing. Now, this side I have only r power of 3. So equals r power of 3. R power of 3, like this. Now, this one here, I want to remove the power of 3. It means I have to do the opposite of this power. And the opposite of power of 3 is cube root. It means the cube, the root that has a 3 on top of it over here, like this. It's called a cube root, and this is the opposite of cubing. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to put a cube root like this to solve the problem of cubing, or to do the opposite of cubing, and this is the cube root. Now, the cube root will cancel the cube like this. This cube root will cancel the cube. I'll end up with r. So the final answer will be like this. R equals, I'll write it here, 3v over 4 pi cube rooted, okay? I'll write the cube rooted. I'll make the fraction like this, cube rooted. Focus on the steps. This is the fraction line, and this is the pi over here. And this is how you answer a question like this. So focus on the steps, focus on the way of turning this fraction into this fraction, and follow the steps of rearranging the subjects. That's it for this question. Let's move on to the next one. So in this question here, we have two x's and we want to make x the subject. This what happens when the subject occurs twice. The subject occurs twice on the same equation. It means you have to take them to one side so you can factorize and make them one subject. So now, first thing we do when we look at the equation, we this is a negative x. It means I'll take it to this side. So I'll take the whole thing here to this side to make it positive. At the same time, I'll take the f to the other side to put the x's alone. So basically, I'm putting the x's alone and the other side and other letters on the other side. So C this one minus f. Let's make it bigger so you can see it. So as we said, C minus f. I took this f here. I made it minus. Now equals. Sorry, equals. On this side, I have ex. And I took the negative dx here and I made it positive dx like this. Now I rearranged to make the x's on one side so I can factorize to make them 1x. That's the idea. When you see two x's and I want x the subject, it means take the x's on one side, factorize to make them 1x. Now when we factorize, it means we have to break down these elements. I'm going to break down this and break down this. So when you break down the first one, it's going to be ex like this. And when you break down the second one, it's going to be dx, dx like this. And by that, you broke down each element into its prime factors. Now you take the common ones between them, which are the x's. You take one of them only and you write it outside a bracket like this. And then you open a bracket. This is what we do when we factorize. And then what's left here? We left an e. And then the sign which is positive, and then what's left here, it's a d, and then you close a bracket. This is how you factorize to make it 1x. So this is how you turn two x's into 1x. Now you write the rest of the equation or formula. So c minus f equals this part. Okay, now we continue by doing the last step, which is putting the x alone. And how do we do this? Very good. Here, the x is multiplied by the whole bracket. It means I can take the whole bracket to the other side by dividing. I'll take it to the other side by dividing. So I'll end up with this c minus f over e plus d. E plus d, like this. Because I took the whole thing here, it's going to be divided, okay? Now, fraction line. And this equals to what? Very good. Equals to x. And this is how you make the x a subject. Basically, if you have the x on, or you have the x two times, or the subject occurs twice, this means you have to take them to one side, so you can factorize them. After factorizing, you'll end up with 1x, and once multiplied by it, you take it to the other side by dividing. And this is how you answer a question like this. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.